Welcome back to another episode of Footy with the Boys. A special one today for Nick and all Gunners fans out there. We have to start with it. Nick, I see the kit. I see the beautiful kit there.
Look at
1-0
that.
win. How are we feeling?
How are we feeling? Oh my God. I've been ecstatic all day. It's been a couple hours and it still hasn't sunk in. It's 8 years, bro. We haven't been in that city side in 8 years. 2015 is the last time we beat them. What a performance, man. Excited about it.
Mike, you got the US kit. Arsenal had
Yes,
some
sir.
U.S. influence to start the season. I'd like to think that Austin Trusty and Flo Balogun had a big hand in this due
Matty
to their
Turner.
preseason help. How are we feeling about the big result and honestly a pretty entertaining weekend?
Very entertaining weekend. Great weekend to be a Premier League fan. A lot of great games to watch.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations, Nick, all the Gunners
Hell
out
yeah.
there. Long time coming. Um, what a grind of a game. A chess match, as a lot of people have said, between two
Oh
great
my God.
managers. And Arsenal just had enough today. We'll get into it later, but well-deserved victory.
Absolutely. What a great game and some great content for us to break down here. Before we get into our big breakdown of all the details on Arsenal Man City, there were some other top games that we knew going in would be some bangers, and they were some bangers. We'll start with Mike's featured game of the week, Liverpool Brighton. It ends 2-2. Mo Salah with a brace. Allison with a big mistake to give away the first goal, but that did not stop Liverpool from taking the lead before Brighton ties it up. Mike, run us through the game. What does this mean for both teams, and what were you seeing from this that excited you here?
Yeah, pretty good result for Brighton, definitely. I think Liverpool looked like the better side, is the better side, and definitely expected to get 3 points after that controversy the past weekend. Um, I don't think it really was Allison's mistake on that first goal. I think it was more Alexis McAllister who didn't control the ball, kind of let it go through his legs, and then Simone Adingra kind of picks his pocket and just slots it back past Allison, who's trying to get back. But heads up play from him. I've been kind of impressed. Kind of an unknown player. Only place I'd heard of him previously was playing a little FIFA
FIFA,
my
you're
career. Yeah, because he's
Pace.
got crazy pace. Yes, exactly. You play FIFA, you know. But yeah, he's a fast player in real life as well, and gives Andy Robertson hell on
Funny
that
how that
wing.
works.
Yeah, crazy how it works. Sometimes FIFA gets it right. Mo Salah doing what Mo Salah does. 2 goals right before halftime, one through play, and then one on the penalty spot. Pretty standard. What I expect from him now. He just ends up on the sheet, and people kind of underrate him for it because it's just happens so often. Um, and then a late goal from Lewis Dunk. Great for Brighton. The atmosphere was great. Uh, De Serbi giving McAllister a little love after the game. Still loved by the fans, even though he's gone on to another team. But great result, fun match to watch. I think Liverpool will be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, dude.
Nick?
Fun one. Fun one. You see De Zerbi like parading McAllister after, like having the
Yeah,
Brighton fans cheer him on. That was cool. And then as we are talking, I'm like, I wonder if McAllister gave him that first goal. And De Zerbi's like, hey, thanks, bro.
yeah,
Hey, still got our back, huh?
I think that was more
So
on Virgil van Dijk's pass rather than McAllister too much, though. I don't
yeah,
think it was a
yeah,
good
for
pass
sure.
by
push
Van
McGee.
Dijk at all.
Hey, heads
Yeah,
up play by Adingra, bro. Like that was a calm finish, seeing Allison a little bit off his line there. Not easy to do. So yeah, that was cool. Cool game. I was pumped when Brighton got the tying goal off a set piece, which by the way, Arsenal were great off set pieces today. But every fucking piece of analysis today, I'm gonna bring it back to an Arsenal point, just so you guys know. So, uh,
that's your day.
Mohamed Salah, dude. Yeah, I mean Salah on the score sheet again. Some people were calling him Liverpool's Bukayo Saka. I get it. Elite. And just overall, split points at the Amex, really good result for Brighton. Obviously, Liverpool probably the better team. That Carlos Baleba kid, I think his name's Carlos. I don't know the new DM for Brighton, who's 19. He'll go for 100 mil in a couple years. So, Brighton just keep doing what
Mature
they're doing.
performance out of him. I was impressed.
Yeah,
I hadn't
solid player.
seen him play before, and he held his own.
Yeah, for sure. I still, just based off of the main event today, Liverpool is the third best team in the league, and I think comfortably so. But I think they'll be in the race because their attack is so explosive. But um, yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, great game. I think Liverpool, like Mike said, probably be a little disappointed. I do think that they were a bit more on the front foot, but obviously not by any large margin where it would be a real unfair result here. But do think that Liverpool show that they do have that class that might have been a little bit above Brighton here. But another game right below those two teams fighting for a top four, top five spot is West Ham versus Newcastle. It ended 2-2. West Ham went up early with Thomas Soucek's goal there, but good old Alexander Isak with a brace, and then finally Kudos, the new signing, gets the equalizer very late on to get the draw for West Ham, keeps them above Newcastle in the table. And I think, like I said last week, this game would go a long way to tell us how legit West Ham is this season after a pretty disappointing last season. Mike, do we get a check, a diamond check on West Ham right now? I think it's beeping. Do you hear the beeping?
It's real, man. It's not a frog. So yeah, they're legit, and that's a hell of a result, especially playing Newcastle after what they did to PSG in the midweek. I mean, Newcastle looked like world beaters. PSG came out flat, but Newcastle came out fucking swinging. And West Ham held their own. They got the opening goal, and didn't lose their cool when Isak got a quick brace, and were able to find the equalizer to get a point, a huge point at that. You said time and time again how tight it is in that mid to top table, and it's just as tight as it was before the week. We thought we might see a few places switch around, a few swings, but we haven't really seen much. It's kind of stayed where it was because of these teams all tied each other.
Yeah, it is very competitive around that. Nick, if you had to pick one of these teams from that midsection of the Villa, Brighton, West Ham, Newcastle to break away from the rest of the pack, after watching these two big matchups, or who would you choose to be that one to break away?
Uh, Honestly, I'd choose Villa to fall off. I don't know if I'm choosing one to break away. But if I had to say one, probably still got to go Newcastle. They got the deeper squad of all the teams. I think Brighton's playing the best ball, but Newcastle's got the better squad. So I'd say Newcastle.
Influence
But
championships.
honestly, yeah, sure. Even like West Ham can feel a little bit hard done today because like the referees in that game were shockingly once again inconsistent. The free kick that led to Isak's goal, not not a foul at all. Like that was ridiculous. It was completely insane. And while they're like still I think debating, like they take the ball and it ends up being a goal. And also Guimaraes probably it, I don't know, it's hard because they set the precedent with Yoda's second yellow last week, with that pretty soft yellow, but second yellow send him off. It was the exact same thing that happened in this game, and Guimaraes didn't get the second yellow. I get it. Like, just because you made a mistake last week doesn't mean you have to make the same one this week. But if you're West Ham, honestly, you can feel a little bit hard done. And especially at the end because they were pushing for it. Bowen was like dangerous. There was some good moments. And even in that last game, we're talking about Liverpool Brighton, like Brighton were on it in the last 10 minutes too. João Pedro like missed a sitter that should have gone into the net. So um yeah, just competitive ass week of football. And I fucking love the Premier League, man. Like it is so
So
fun to
good,
watch
dude.
and they're
So
so good. It's awesome.
there's not many games that are easy to predict or isn't a somewhat decent matchup this year. because there
Yeah.
are so many teams like a West Ham, Newcastle, etc. That whatever the
Holy
hell was that
shit!
in the background, but
Fucking bless.
they just have great spots on. What is going on? Is somebody
Dude, I think you're
at
getting
war?
squatted. Is that you?
Yeah, I got. Dude, people do fucking burnouts outside my window.
Oh
All
wait,
right.
that means the pod
Well,
didn't hear that. Fuck.
Yeah, Pod didn't hear it. I fucking
Damn
mute
it.
myself on
now
purpose, bro.
there's a very concerning noise coming from over there.
Oh, it's terrifying.
What did it sound like? I was ripping ass or something?
No, like
Oh no.
Like a motor.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
Yeah,
bro.
I
that's
was
that's what it
felt like you
was.
were in on
I
that.
thought that's
All
gonna put
right.
a Teams up on your
Let's
door.
not get too sidetracked by loud noises. We do have a big game to go over, and it is that one that we already prefaced a bit. Arsenal 1, Manchester City 0. We all said it was going to be a close affair, not a lot of scoring, and chess moves back and forth. The chess moves, Arteta gets the checkmate in this game. Nick, takeaways.
Oh my god, bro. I mean, I can't tell you the emotion that escaped my body after Martinelli's deflected goal in. This was a game that could have gone either way, and it happened to bounce our way today. But I do think that again, the whole game, I think a lot of people online were like expecting like just free flowing, like both these teams dominate and play such pretty football, like it's gonna be exactly like that. I was pretty confident it was not gonna be like that because this was a game of fine margins. Our fucking oh my god, Arsenal's defense today. A special shout out to Saliba and Gabriel in the back line. Ben White on his birthday putting just class performance. Clamped Doku, clamped Foden, clamped Alvarez. Saliba bodied Haaland, Gabriel bodying everyone else. Like I mean, the this Arsenal defensive structure is very, very difficult to break down. I know they're without Rodri and De Bruyne, which definitely makes a difference. But I mean, you see the quality on the pitch. To they didn't have a chance outside of like the first minute with that like second ball to Ake that just happened to
Yeah.
bounce his way. I mean, Arsenal. I'm so proud of the performance. A complete chess match by two geniuses. And I think the win has to be given like falls on the shoulders of Mikel Arteta because the subs that he made, our starting 11, I told you guys, I texted you this morning, I was like, this isn't the 11 I would pick, but I back the boys, and if we don't concede early, I think we have a good chance to make an impact. And that's exactly what happened. Arteta's subs, all four of them combining on the goal. Are you fucking kidding me? And then, you know, here's the actual chess. Guardiola brings on Doku to try and get around Zinchenko because Zinchenko's defensively not that great. Doku loves to run at people. Great. Arteta counters, brings on Tomiyasu. Guardiola counters, and this is the mistake of the game. He puts him on the other side, but Ben White's there, and he's been fucking elite all game. So Ben White clamps him. Arteta says, "Okay, Tomiyasu, you can start bombarding." He plays like a box to box. Like after Doku makes that switch, he's responsible for the header over to Havertz, who then assists Martinelli. I mean, the boys fucking fought for every inch of the ground today. Both teams were elite. David Raya made me a little nervous, honestly, in those first 15 minutes, but after that, the deep balls late in the game, his passing range is insane. It's just, it feels like the season really like a weight off the shoulders. Arsenal's not been on at their best, and it feels like this one just like an explosion of emotion and pressure that kind of just fell off of them, and I'm backing us now to really fucking show our class. Thomas Partey back from injury, Martinelli back from injury, both of them making big impacts. Havertz, I told you guys, start Havertz at the 9. This is the game where we need him there. He does exactly what I knew he was going to do with the assist. It just feels really good. They're missing Rodri and De Bruyne. We're missing Saka. We couldn't start Party. I think there's injuries both way to Stars men's. It feels really good. Gabby Jesus, beautiful performance at the right wing. He was our only outlet the first half with City's elite press. Declan Rice playing like the 100 million midfielder that he is. The Foden had a break in the second half, and Declan Rice with one of the sauciest tackles I've ever seen from behind, clamping the ball and then like flicking it on to keep possession. Like, I can't tell you how impressed I am with the boys. Raya like commanding the box from corners. And Odegaard running his fucking socks off, quality moments when it was needed. I'm proud of the boys. I'm really fucking happy with the result, obviously, and I don't know, man. I again, everyone keeps saying Rodri and De Bruyne out, but this is big, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Mike,
Oh, I agree.
do you think the psychological benefit of being able to take down your boogeyman of sorts, the one that's had this over you for
8
so long,
years, bro. 8 years.
more important for Arsenal, or do you think the 3 points are more important? Both, I think, are make a pretty strong argument either way.
Yeah, the points are one thing. They don't matter as much this early in the season, I would say, as much as the psychological victory, because it is such a hurdle that they had in front of them. They beat everybody in the league. Mikel's beat everybody in the league. He's out coached everybody in the league, and the only person he had, left standing was Pep, who was his mentor, and it says a lot. Um, and yeah, it seemed like Nick said last week, if it doesn't happen now, then fucking when? When does it happen? They stepped up. Uh, I won't give any sort of credit or any weight to anybody who says, "Well, this is not City's strongest lineup." It's a strong lineup. It doesn't matter. There's missing players on both sides.
Saka is
Um,
missing for Arsenal, though.
right.
I think
They're
injury.
arguably their best player, at least
Yeah.
their best attacking player. Um, it was a grind of a match. You have to be a real football fan to find enjoyment in
Oh
that
my
one, I
god.
think,
That was
because there's not a
crazy.
whole lot of excitement. There's not chances on goal. There's very few shots. Um, there's very little aside from set pieces. That's kind of what it came down to, and then long balls from Raya towards the end, which City really couldn't cope with.
Mm-mm.
They were getting torn down the flanks. Tomiyasu, like you said, Jesus was giving Guvardio hell. I think Guvardio played okay, but I'm not a big fan
I
of
wasn't too
playing him at
impressed with
left
him.
back. I think Ake should be playing left back and Guvardio should slip into the center. That makes a lot more sense to me. Um, City, I think, did make some tactical errors. Pep's not one to make quick substitutions, but he really caught a break with Kovacic not being sent
Oh
off
my god. How are we not talking about
or
Kovacic? That
refing.
fucking rat. Jesus.
But I don't know how you don't sub him. The dude looked like he didn't want to be on the field anymore. He goes into the first challenge, which was what the commentator said is a high tariff yellow card, which I agree. That's in
I
between a
could have
yellow
been
and
a
a
red,
red.
bro.
Could have
Like,
been
come on.
either way, 50-50. It studs up, it's in a high ankle. And then like 20 seconds later, he goes into Declan with a similar challenge and the ref
Fucking
waves it off.
moron.
So Kovacic doesn't have an impact on the game. The subs come on way too late. Your point about Doku's great. Switching him onto Ben White, and then Tomiyasu just kind of has free reign because Foden's not going to track him on the right wing.
Mm-mm. Fuck no,
Um,
Phil Foden. Fraud.
no, doesn't play defense. The goal is great. The hold up play from Havertz is great. It's not the prettiest of goals, but that's what you expect. It's in this kind of game, you put one in, it goes off a defender. That's what happens.
Hell
Martinelli
yeah,
had a
dude.
great impact coming off
Played
injury.
great. He was great off injury.
He looked great. Jorginho, weird start. He looked fine. Yeah, props to you guys. Props to Mikel Arteta. Well deserved. And I think one of the big points of the match is Erling Haaland looked non fucking existent. He had a
Dude,
few hold up plays. He usually
Mike,
doesn't have a whole
flags.
lot of touches, but
Tell me about
Gabriel
I think
Saliba.
he's
Come on.
Saliba
so reliant. He's so reliant on having a good
marked out of the
midfield, a
game.
good service. The second he gets service, he is the most lethal striker in the world by far. But without that service, he's absolute zero. He doesn't create his own chances. He is the best at making those runs. He is the best at finding headers, getting some limb to it in the air, flying through. But when it comes to a situation where you lose a De Bruyne, you lose Rodri for a deep lying playmaker, and your wingers aren't necessarily playing at their top form, your center mids aren't playing in the best form to get you that service, he's only getting a few touches a game, and it's not enough to create for himself. It's not enough to have huge impacts that you'd expect somebody like a name like Holland to be producing. I think
And I
it's
think I think you look at the City side and the guy who can still create like quality chances for him is Bernardo, and
Bernardo
he
Silva.
played him deep. And
Way
so
deep.
I understand that of like recycling possession against this Arsenal team, you're going to need to do that, but that's what you give up. And so, I mean, guys, talk to me about William fucking Saliba. I mean, he has to be easily the best young center back in the world
I mean,
and right up there for one of the
Hey,
best. Like,
that
oh
back
my god,
line is just
he didn't put a foot wrong today, and
oh
neither
my
did
god, what a
Gabriel.
player! I
I
love
was
it.
I
very
think
impressed.
they have
Go
such a
ahead,
good
Jared.
back line building, and they have Timber, who's waiting in
Mm-hmm.
the medical whatever group, trying to getting ready to go, and like you have a Zinchenko, you have a Tamiyasu, you have Saliba, you have Gabriel, you have Ben White, you have two keepers that are top of the game. That back line being protected as well by Declan Rice and Partey. It's like
Oh, Declan Rice.
that that back line just shows that it can hold up with the best in the world, like a Man City. And instead of seeing City as this invincible team that only will lose points when they're not really that focused, like at Wolves, or when they're just losing their touch against the team that they don't care about. That's no longer the thing. Is they went head to head with another great team, played a top team at a top level, and they lost head to head. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that it shows that there's blood in the water. And I think other teams will now see that and not see Manchester City as some invincible team that we can't play our game against them. Arsenal went up there and said, we're going to play our game. And they looked the better side at playing that game for what I thought was most of the game.
They looked like identical sides, like in and out of possession. They were playing like really similarly, like switching from this block that they have to the high press. Like I do think Man City's high press is still the best in the world. With that first half, we didn't have an outlet outside of Jesus, and he fucking worked his socks off to be that outlet. I'm so proud of him. I will say like a couple guys like again, I was mostly upset with the Nketiah start. He worked hard, but didn't create that much. But also didn't make any mistakes, you know. And at this level, like you need that. Same with Jorginho. Like he made a really smart foul early in the game, where I think a lot of people would have been like, I don't want to take this yellow, and he took it because he knew that like there was a transitional moment. It's a key moment, and he did the right thing. And other than that, like recycled the possession really well. So like not world beaters, but you need like those like 6, 7 out of 10 kind of performances in the middle of the field from all your players. Like you have one weak link against City, you're fucked. So I'm just incredibly proud of all these guys. I can't tell you like what a joy it was to win that game. You could see how much it meant to all of them. Like the stadium erupted. The players were celebrating for what seemed like forever. Um, just really happy. I will say though, like if we're looking at the City side, I think you're right. Like blood in the water. Rodri out 3 games, 3 losses to the City. You know what I mean? So uh, over reliant maybe a little bit on Rodri. And I don't know. I think like I think you're right. They've had this mystique. We've called them on here like the 2018 Warriors. Like they can just turn it on wherever. Arsenal fucking showed them today that like we're every bit you're equal. I'm not saying like all of a sudden we're the better team. I honestly will probably still say City are title favorites, but like come on, like that is a game of fine margins. That ball could have bounced in either way, and it fucking feels good to have it bounce in our way today.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
big shout out to Martinelli. He
Hell yeah,
was the second he got subbed on, he
danger.
changed, I think a lot of the game was just I don't know if it was just me, but every time he got the ball, I felt like he was
Definitely,
dangerous, like he could do something at any point, and I just think Arsenal has been missing Martinelli, and to see him
absolutely.
back out there against such a big team and in such a big game, I mean, what a performance there. Wanted to make sure we give him a shout out there. Mike, if you
Absolutely. Good
also
call.
our boy Martinelli.
Yeah, great, super dynamic. Wanted to take people on, but didn't lose the ball. So that's a great
Hmm.
happy medium. When you're a dribbler, that's often something that will happen. You're going to take people on, and then you'll lose possession. But he
Look
was
at
very
Doku.
smart. Yeah,
Lost the ball
right.
5 times today.
Doku, I mean, he did what he's supposed to. He's supposed to take people
Yeah.
on, but he tries to meg Zinchenko. Zinchenko gets a tackle. They go on a counter. Yeah, he wasn't overly effective where
Mm-mm.
Martinelli was and got a goal because of it. Credit to your fans today. Absolute
Fuck yeah.
scenes at the Emirates. Getting the chance. Odegaard had the players or the fans going early.
Hell yeah.
Every tackle that was won, every ball out of bounds, raising the arms, raising the tempo.
It's fucking different, bro.
You guys wanted it more. I think it comes down to that. You could see it in the style of play, the aggression, the ferocity, the faces on the players. You guys wanted it. You got it. Congrats. Huge win. Sets the tone.
Feels good.
Nick, I want to before we close here, want to end with this question. If it ends 0-0 there, are you disappointed that Arsenal doesn't pull one out?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a game of results. You know what I mean? And like it's nice to tie them, I guess. Like after a couple hours, like I'm sure I'd rationalize it in my head. Um, but like you guys fucking, it's the boogeyman, dude. We haven't been able to beat them in 8 goddamn years. Like Arsenal was posting tapes of like the 2018 2-2 draw. Like Jesus Christ, man. Like we just needed this, and it's definitely it feels a lot different, especially because you think Rodri, De Bruyne, and at the M's all three of those things. Like we needed this one, and it like there wasn't. I don't think it was like a sense of relief to win. I don't want to say that. It was a sense of elation of like, yes. And uh I'm gonna feel it the whole week.
I love
I
it.
think City would have settled with a draw. I think they would.
Oh hell yeah.
For
Yeah,
reference,
that would've been epic.
everyone, Nick has been typing in all caps since the end of the game in the group chat.
Listen, bro, I'm
It's
fucking
been all
juice.
caps for a while. And
Give
that's
you a moment.
actually a perfect segue to our next game because goddamn the group chat was really happy until we were very upset at this result. Manchester United 2, Brentford 1. The only people that can score for Manchester United are center defensive mids for some reason. Scott McTominay with 2 goals after the 90th minute. I initially had texted, boys, Scott McTominay just ruined our podcast when he had the leveler. And just minutes later, he ends up scoring the winner as well. Boys, I was so excited to talk so much trash on Eric Ten Hag losing to Brentford here. Mike, can we please still do that? It took Scott McTominay 2 goals in the 90th minute to beat Brentford. Does this does this put out any of the fire under Eric Ten Hag's seat? Or is it
No.
just kind of keeping it going?
Eric Ten Hag had no involvement in Manchester United winning this game, and he knows it. He put on Scott McTominay because he needed to make a sub, and he was probably like the last guy on the bench. And credit to him, Scott went out there. His first goal is great. He made an insane touch and then buries it in the bottom corner. And then the next goal is awesome too because it comes from Harry Maguire, who's just been shitted on for the last 2 years, and then he puts it away. I think their fans win this game. The story around Ferguson and his wife wins this game. McTominay playing well for Scotland wins this game. Eric Ten Hag has no involvement in winning this game.
He did have some involvement though, because looking at the lineup, Palmer, if you can go there, I want to get Nick's take on this, because this is some back line.
Oh my
Nick,
goodness.
can you please run us through what you're seeing here as a former center back from this defensive line?
As a man who just watched this defensive masterclass from Arsenal's back line, seeing this is just truly hilarious. I mean,
Read it out for
it
our
feels
audio only listeners.
it's we got Diego Dallo, Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans, Victor Lindelof is our back four shielding Andre Onana, who needs all the shielding he can fucking get because oh my god is he horrible. And this feels like this felt like, oh, City plays a bunch of center backs. Let's play some center backs. Fucking idiot. It's like horrible. Johnny Evans, the best player in that back line, is tragic for a club the size of Man U. Yeah, it's a bad lineup. I think he's lucky to get the result. Little OT magic. R.I.P. Kathy Ferguson. Thoughts out to Sir Alex. So cool to see that moment. And fuck Man U, but it is cool anytime you see like late winners, especially from a guy who's been in the academy since he was like 5. Like those are the kind of moments that mean more in football. So, yeah, I did say Matthias Jensen. I think he could get a goal, so feel good about that. But yeah, I'm actually really happy about this result, if I'm being honest, because I don't think Brentford's been on that good of form without even Tony. We talked about that, and I think this win just buys Ten Hag a little bit more time, which is good news for the rest of us. So I'm uh I'm pretty okay with the result. It doesn't mean much in their quest to finish anywhere higher than like ninth, probably.
Mike, do you think they finish anywhere close to Europe this year? I mean,
Like
they are
barring
in the
like a
Champions League right now.
meltdown from West Ham, Villa, and Brighton, they're not going to finish near Europe. I mean, if that happens, maybe they'll like sneak in, but maybe
They're
for
only
like
1
Europa
point
Conference
behind
League,
Newcastle.
yeah, only 1 point behind Newcastle. But look at the teams Manchester United's played. I mean, the Bees fucking suck this year. Brentford sucks, man. Everton beat Brentford this year. Brentford's got 1 win this year, man. And they were winning that game up until stoppage time, and then a few things happened. I don't think Brentford like played bad, and those kind of goals that they got scored on were just pure chaos. Those are not worked goals. Those are set pieces and having just tall dudes, and it just works out. Um, no, I think Man U finishes right where they're at, right around 9-10. That seems like a good spot for them. And the team below them, I think, is still a better team.
Oh,
Chelsea
That
Man U
being
would
the
be
blue.
a game.
Yeah,
that's a fucking conversation.
And that
it is
is
a conversation.
honestly this year it is, I think, rather close. Chelsea has been finding some form.
Okay,
Manchester
relax.
United has been. I mean, they won this week, but yeah, it'll be an interesting match between those two. There's not a lot of positives to go around in terms of overall their season performance. And just off of that, we do get into Chelsea though, who, like I said, is in a run of form, and their run of form is not against the most amazing teams here. They beat Burnley 4-1. They seem to score all the goals of the season that they can against the Lutons and Burnleys of the world. They got outshot by Burnley in this case, but they still get the 4-1 victory. Nick, you already somewhat answered this. Is Chelsea back? 3 wins in a row, all comps.
Uh, Fulham's also not great, even though they still have 11 points. Maybe I'm shitting on Fulham too much, but they haven't looked great. And uh, oh, what are they back? No, of course they're. Are you kidding me? These guys used to be the bullies like for like 3 or 4 years. Like, no, they're not back. They're bad. They're still a bad team. They're looking slightly better. I do think benching Mudryk is the way to go. He's just not up to it at the moment. Still got potential, I guess. I mean, he is young, but just because you paid 120 million for him or whatever the hell they paid doesn't mean he should start every game. Also Cole Palmer looking decent. So that's cool. Good for him.
I always look good.
It's funny. It's funny that that what was it 45 million is like a bargain buy for Chelsea. So it's funny to see some of their bargains, quote unquote, playing
For now.
well. Um, but yeah, for now. Um, but back to what you said, Mike. Chelsea better than Man U, you think?
I think so. I think comfortably.
I don't know, bro. Flags, what do you think?
I don't know if I'll go that far.
What would you say, Flags? Which one are you picking?
I think life or death. Shit, I'm probably dying. I don't know if there's who's in between this. I think both teams end up losing some way. They will find a way.
Both
I
will.
think, I don't know. I might still
I
give
like
Manchester United the edge.
I like Poach as a
Manchester
coach
United
quite a bit better
has
than
been
Eric Ten
bad.
Hag.
Yeah, but Chelsea's players have been pitiful for so long. Manchester United's have been pretty shit, but for less time.
I
And
like
by
Man U
that
better.
math, I give Man U a slight edge.
I take Man U. Um, at some point, Rashford's gonna hit his like customary 8 game purple patch. So they'll get some points there. Yeah, and Man U, I think, have been affected by injuries more than Chelsea. That back line woeful, but they are pretty banged up. So, um, I like I like I like Man U a little bit better there. I think they got it better. I just don't think who in Chelsea is like really good. Is there a player that's like
Yeah,
aside from Thiago Silva? Is that it?
Enzo
Enzo
Fernandez.
Is
has 0 assists, 0 goals this entire season.
is Enzo?
I don't judge him based on those stats. I judge him as a
But
kind of a chaos
he's
midfielder
supposed
who
to be a
breaks up
creative.
plays.
So what is okay?
Oh
Back to the
Bruno
question
no,
does
with Bruno.
Bruno for that reason. He's supposed to be the
no,
one breaking up play. Enzo has to create, do something.
he's more
What
of a
what's
defensive-minded
Enzo's role?
midfielder.
What's Enzo's role? Someone tell me.
He's like
What does he
an
do
8.
really well?
Watch the box.
Okay, so does he score a lot of goals?
He's not a goal scorer. No,
Does he create a lot of chances?
he creates the chance for the
He
chance.
He has
makes an
zero
average amount.
assists.
He has a pass for the assist.
Okay, so he's a passenger. Got it. Okay, cool.
No, I think he's a crucial
Next,
player. I really rate him.
dude.
I think he is a good player, but I don't think he's playing that great. And I wouldn't say that just because he won Young Player of the tournament at the World Cup and has a lot of potential and has shown some flashes of that he's a top player right now.
And
Like Thiago
like
Silva, you're like, okay, he has proven it time and time again, and he has continued to be a star. I think Raheem Sterling, you could make an argument for. Obviously,
He's
recent
great.
form
Very good
would
player.
make that argument a little harder, but
so I don't want to say elite players because on form neither side has either. But has any. But like I think again, back to our conversation a couple weeks ago, but like good and very good feel a little different to me. And there's some good players, you know. I think Enzo's good. I think Colwill's good. I think Thiago Silva's
Caicedo
pretty
is
close to
good.
very good. Who?
Moises Caicedo is good.
He's good, yes, but like none of these guys are actual level raisers. Do you know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah,
all
I
kind
mean,
of
when
so.
Reece
And
James and Ben Chilwell are healthy, they're very good. Those are some of the
I think
upper
I don't.
echelon of fullbacks.
when
Reece
Reece
James, I'll
James
give
is
you.
healthy, he's a level raiser.
Yeah, he's an elite fullback.
Yeah,
Yeah, but then when is he healthy? Can we start
that's
talking about?
That's the issue.
there.
Can we
Sure.
start talking about when he is healthy and start talking about when he like isn't? Because he never is. Like
No, but
if
the
we
three
look
or
at
four games a year that he does play, he is electric.
if we look
So
at Man U, I do think they have a couple really good players. I think Casemiro is.
Casemiro,
I don't
Bruno,
think he's elite or world class anymore. I think Bruno, you know my opinion, Bruno. I think he's good. I don't think he's really good. I think Rashford's really good. He's in shit form. Um, so I think they have a couple
um,
level raisers, and I'll take Man U over Chelsea if I'm being honest. Also, dude, this fucking Alex, what's the name of their center back? Disasi? He is
Disasi,
the
yeah.
slowest man I've ever seen walk God Green's Earth. Like him and Murdersacker would just be the barn burner of a
Talk about
century.
Johnny Evans.
Like Johnny Evans looks quicker, bro. I swear to God, and he's 40. Oh my God, I hate this. I hate Man U. Chelsea. It's like I don't like them, but I don't really hate them. They're just oil money, you know. Same thing with City. Like I don't hate City. There's not enough tradition there for me to really hate them. But I definitely don't like this squad. Like I don't like the group of players they've assembled.
I don't agree
I
with
just
that. I'll stand by it. I don't think they're great right now. They aren't. They're obviously not great right now with their performances. But I do see a good squad in here with the personnel.
I see a good
Where?
squad in it. I agree.
Where?
But
I like
I mean,
this
they have
midfield to
great
grow.
talent.
Those three guys, actually, in particular. I'm not the biggest Conor Gallagher lover, but he showed pretty good quality with his stint at Crystal Palace. Kind of shit last year,
No,
looked off the
3 years.
pace, but I expect him to turn into a quality player.
I don't know about I'm fine with Conor
That's the
Gallagher
thing.
being your third best midfielder. I think that's fine. But if he's your third best midfielder, you have to have some like actually like really good midfielders, and I don't think that's what Chelsea
I
have.
think those two guys are. I think those two guys are.
I think they are good
Sure.
midfielders, but I think the problem here is when you're doing a rebuild like this, you look at somebody who's done it actually well, who's getting the results, and you look at somebody like a Real Madrid, who they had an established team that was doing well in Europe and doing well in the league. Chelsea had that, and Chelsea sold every single one of those players essentially. Like Raheem Sterling, Conor Gallagher, Thiago Silva are like the only ones that were people in that team that had any type of play time when they were having success. And you look at what Real Madrid did, they bought in to young players that had potential. Chelsea checked the box on that. Young players that have potential, but they're buying just nonstop players with potential and shifting all the way away from all their veterans. And then they're asking why it's not working out the same, that they're not developing the same when they have no veterans, they have nobody else to help them push the culture along. You can't just throw $1 billion at a problem with all these young players, all these promising players, and expect that you're going to have great performances. Even Real Madrid with the Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Bellingham, with Vinny, with Rodrigo, they all had people they had to compete against, veterans, to get any type of play time. And they knew that if they were fucking up or they weren't having good form, that there were those veterans who were going to take over. Here, who the hell is going to take over if Enzo Fernandez is not playing well to his potential?
No, you're right.
Good answer. Who would go
They
in there?
had that answer. I mean, they had players like that. They had N'Golo Kante. They have
Exactly.
pseudo world class players, world class at one point, maybe not anymore in his age. But Chelsea's not that mindset of a club, especially now with new ownership. They'll sell players. Well, Real Madrid will let players age gracefully and won't care about maximizing profits off of them. They don't care that they could have sold Luka Modric a few years ago for exorbitant amount of money. Same with Tony Cruz, which I don't think those guys would want to go anywhere elsewhere, but they're letting them kind of age out, retire there, or go to a small league afterwards. That's the type of system they have in still where Chelsea will sell guys when they could still get a profit for them, and that kind of eliminates
Yeah.
the ability to fight for a spot that you mentioned, which would have a good impact on these young players. I think you're right.
Tracy, let's say Enzo, Moises, and Conagher play their best game. Okay, like the three of them play their best game. What midfields are they beating? Like, they're not beating Arsenal's or Cities, obviously. I
Of the
don't think.
top four.
Yeah, they're not beating Arsenal's or Cities. They're not beating. I don't even think Liverpool's. If like Salzboy's going to keep playing the way he's playing, and McAllister's playing well, even though I have issues with their six. I don't think they beat Newcastle's midfield, in my opinion. I don't think they beat like
I think they
five
beat
teams.
Brighton's midfield. I think they beat Aston Villa's midfield. I think they are
So
better than Manchester United's midfield.
so that's the that's
I don't
that
think.
that's what I'm
You
talking about
think
though.
that
That's
their midfield is better than Casemiro, Bruno, and whoever the fuck else Manchester United wants to put in there, Amrabat? You think at their best, they're better than those three at their best? Casemiro, Bruno?
that that's
I
a
think
tough one
those
to
two
say.
alone. I think they're right.
At their best, I think it's kind of tight, but I'll take if I had to buy a team, I'm taking those three Chelsea midfielders over whatever Manchester United has to offer,
And
whatever
that's due
combination
to
of
them
three
having
guys.
potential. That's due to their potential, not their actual. Talking about like form this season and the now.
it's
If
not at their
your
best
life
though.
depends on this season getting results, not buying a team and thinking about the potential, which midfield are you taking? Because we're talking just right now, performance right now. What can they do?
They can break the line way better. They can defend better. They can run with players better. They could pick up marks better. I
Enzo can't
think they do it
run.
all. Enzo
When
can
have
run.
they done that
Can
better
run.
this season though?
They obviously did it this
I would take
weekend.
Casemiro over
Against
Caicedo in
Burnley.
But who has
What?
Manchester United done it against? Like
No one.
this
Man
is the
just
same
sucks
argument.
too. This is what I'm saying though. If you're saying that you believe in this midfield, and I can comfortably, I think comfortably name 5 midfields in this league that I like better than them at their best, then they're not. That's not the ambition that Chelsea Football Club should be having if they're spending $1 billion goddamn dollars.
not all the
So
ambition. It's where they're at.
But
there's
still,
ambition and there's reality. I think
there's
Chelsea would
those
be
three
very
players-
happy to be in 5th place right now.
those 3 players at their absolute best don't beat those 5 midfields. They're just not better.
No, but
I think you can make an
most
argument for
teams in the world don't beat
Caicedo
those 5
and Enzo
midfields. I
might
think
be
that's
better.
kind of an unreal standard for where Chelsea is in the rebuild right now.
It's not. It's not because they spent $1 billion fucking dollars.
They spent $1 billion. There's no rebuild when you spend that
Don't
much
tell me
goddamn
about
money.
the process if you're spending $1 billion goddamn dollars, bro.
Like
I
this
know,
ain't
I get it.
76 is living on draft
They
picks.
spend $1 billion, but they didn't spend $1 billion on the fucking
On good players?
$1
Yeah,
billion
that's
player.
the problem, bro.
They didn't buy Bellingham.
Exactly.
That's
They didn't buy Valverde.
You need
They
to
didn't do
spend
it like
money on
Madrid
players
did.
who are good now, not who can potentially be good.
I don't know
Chelsea.
if that's true. I mean, Chelsea doesn't. They're not strapped for cash. They're not losing money, so they're not
They
performing
are
the way they
losing
want
money.
to. But
They're losing
they're
a shit ton of money. The TV revenue that they're getting from being in 12th is nowhere near what they're going to get for being in Europe. They're losing so much money on this. They need to get back to Europe to be able to pay in terms of FFP to get to an equal spot where they're not overspending like a crazy amount. So like they do need to get that. They're not.
I get the argument. I don't think they've overspent in the midfield. I think they've overspent on other areas of the team. That's my argument. I think they've
They've
overspent
$100
on
million
players that don't
better
make sense. They fought some outside backs that don't fucking make sense. They spent a shit ton of money on Robert Sanchez, who's a mediocre goalkeeper, and they fought some attacking talent that doesn't make any fucking sense for the money.
I understand
To put
the attacking defense is ass, but it's a $200 million midfield. Surely they should be better.
They're a good
Declan.
midfield. The money, you can't just go off the money because Chelsea's always going to pay more. That's how it is.
Declan
I'm not
Rice
going
was
off the money.
100
They're
million.
playing bad, bro. They're in 11th.
They're not doing good.
They are an 11. Yes. But they don't score goals. That's what it comes down to.
Look,
You're
dude.
a Chelsea denier.
To put a
I'm
bow
not
on it,
Chelsea. I'm a realist.
to put a bow on it, this game does nothing to change my opinion about who Chelsea Football Club is at the moment. Going into the summer, I convinced myself that like maybe they'll find their form a little bit. Now I've convinced myself I'm not scared of Chelsea Football Club finding form this year. It's going to take a lot more money and a lot more development to get them where they need to be, and it's not going to happen this year.
My last
All right.
little piece of thing will be look at the $200 million plus that they spent on the attack and then compare it to the $200 in the midfield or $200 million in the midfield. Where was the money spent better? Would you rather have Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, and Mikhail Mudryk leading your attack, or would you rather have this midfield? I'll take the fucking guys in the middle all day.
Two terrible financial decisions, and one of them being not as shit as the other does not mean it's a good. Like I could go out and I could buy like black or heroin, buy like cocaine. It's not like all of a sudden the cocaine purchase is some amazing decision. It just means I was really stupid on the other one.
There's just no chance Chelsea fans listen to our podcast, right? There's just no chance.
They are now.
Mike,
There might be some stuff wallowing that they want to do and they listen. So
Mike, you're a bastion of hope for them.
You're like, I like this Mike guy. He
Mike
gets
guy,
it.
yeah, he's on something, yeah.
He knows what we're doing.
He's fighting
He
for us.
understands Todd Bowley's plan.
I trust the process.
All right.
Don't let me down, folks.
The Philadelphia Chelsea 76ers over here.
Sterling looked amazing this week, by the way, against Burnley, but he was involved in all 4 goals. He needs to be a starter.
Great ass.
All right.
Fantastic ass. All right. Suspect running form.
All right. Moving on. We have a game that probably will not have any type of the same emotional responses that we just had to the Chelsea game. Spurs 1, Luton 0. Yeah, that's what I thought. Not exactly the most crazy game. But I do want your opinion on this. Are the Spurs potentially a fraud? At the top position in the Prem, they have beaten Luton, Sheffield, Burnley, Bournemouth, Manchester United, and a 9-man Liverpool. They did tie Arsenal. But are they fooling everybody on their way to the top by playing these not very good teams and a 9-man Liverpool? Mike?
I don't think they're frauds. I think they're a good team. I don't expect them to win. I don't think that's reasonable to expect. Um, right, their quality of opponent hasn't been phenomenal. I think the frauds in the team are Richarlison, that's evident, and then Kulusevski.
How dare you say
Richarlison
that
missed
with his
two fucking
at all?
sitters, and then Kulusevski also missed at least one clear goal opportunity where he just hits it at the keeper instead of going for the 40% of the goal that's wide open and uncoverable. Um, they won 1-0 with Mickey Van de Ven finally getting a goal. Whatever. They should have put 3 or 4 up. I mean, based on the chances they had. And then adding insult to injury, Basuma with a dumbass red card. That was some
Mhm.
silly play from him. Um, they're not frauds, but they are higher on the in the standings than I think they really are for a tier list.
Yeah. Nick,
Yeah.
you're a Gunners fan, so I hope you have a very entertaining answer here. Frauds? Yes or no?
Yeah, of course. 100% they're frauds. Listen, they're very incredibly fraudulent right now. They're overly reliant on two players being Madison and Son. I do like their back line. Christian Romero is being your worst like defender isn't the worst thing in the world. I don't think he's great, but I mean, Tottenham fans hyped him up like he's fucking the next coming of Jesus Christ. But if he's your worst defender, I'm pretty okay with it.
Messi said
So the
he's the
rest of the
best in
back
the
line's
world,
fine.
man.
Okay, well, Messi's out of the playoffs, so um, so listen, are they a good team? Yeah, I think they're pretty good. Are they title contenders? No. Are they good enough to be first in the league? No. Will they struggle to lock down top four? I think a little. I still think it's like theirs to lose, I would say, that fourth spot, like based on form and squads and managers. But um yeah, I mean, again, they fucking played nobody. The only team they played is us, and like it was our worst game of the year. So I don't know, man. I it's annoying to see them at the top right now. If I'm being honest, I don't think they're that great. Um, I think I think it's good for their belief. Like I do think they're building something good in there. I don't know. I just don't know if has the pull to be able to like bring in a true guy that's going to get them over the top and be title contenders. They got so lucky with Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, and like to not be able to capitalize on that even once with any sort of trophy. I don't know.
Whoa. Audi Cup, Audi Cup.
True, yep, crowning moment. But I don't know, man. I think I just think they're not that level of club, and their recruitment is been solid, but I don't know. I don't like this team to be anything more than perennial challenging for top four.
Yeah. I was fishing for a fraud answer. I definitely don't think they're frauds. I'm still a big believer in Big Ange. He has got this team buzzing along, even with 10 men versus Liverpool, or not Liverpool, Luton Town. Would have been a lot more impressive if it was Liverpool. But
God damn it,
yeah,
Luton.
they
Ugh.
just
Luton could have made
and
my weekend
yeah,
so good, bro. Like Luton should have. Fuck how bad that bottom three is. They are horrible.
Luton
Oh
really
my
love to
god.
fuck up our weekends with the whole Everton and halftime thing. So maybe we
Let's talk
just
about this,
really
Everton.
fucking hate Luton. Maybe we just
Oh
really
fuck
hate
Luton.
Luton, and I will root against them, and I will be happy every time they lose.
Hell yeah.
I don't like this Cinderella story. I want
That's
them to
on to
be
the
the
Hatters.
ugly girl. I want to be called out. Nobody return the shoe. But going to uh, a team that Luton has hurt quite a bit. Everton. Oh, our boys in blue were cooking something nice this weekend. 3-0. Jack Harrison is
Oh.
the second coming of Jesus Christ. I said last week, I said he was a difference maker. He was going to turn around this season. And god damn it, that beauty went in, scored a goal. dangerous
Great goal.
3-0 versus a very good side. Let's not discredit Bournemouth. They're a very good side. This is an impressive win. Mike, how are you feeling after this very hard-fought, impressive win?
Oh man, ecstatic. I haven't had so much fun fucking watching a Premier League game in a long time. Like this was pure joy. I was by myself in my living room, like jumping off the couch, fist pumping. I felt like I was in Goodison. Oh man, it was a hell of a win. And we looked good. We could have scored like 5 or 6 goals. It was a beatdown. Jack Harrison, fantastic. Um, really dynamic down the wing. Played a lot of great balls in, and his goal was an absolute beauty.
Oh,
Bounce it around
incredible.
off the corner,
Yeah.
comes back
Form
out,
on
and then
that?
just a
Crazy.
deft little left-footed kind of chip, just guides it with the inside of his foot, bar
Hmm.
down. What a goal! What a freaking goal! Um, the kind of one of the players of the match was Onana, who wasn't even expected to start. Idrissa Gueye was
Great game.
in the lineup, gets hurt, warm up, and then he slots in, and it to our benefit. He's a much more dynamic player, gets into the attack a lot more, and the way he goes into tackles with how like lanky he is, it's beautiful. Seeing him slide in. DCL not on the score sheet, but great game. Went wide into the channels, held up
Very
play
good game.
well. I I go as far to say he's one of the best strikers in the air in the Premier League. The way he gets up, I mean, he floats. He's a tall guy to begin with, but he goes
Hmm.
up and gives center backs real issues with balls over the
Totally.
top, which Everton relies on a lot. Um, Dwight McNeil really hasn't impressed me much this season, but a strong performance from him. Garner looked great in the midfield. Nick had touched on it in the previous segments, how he belongs in the center, and that's absolutely right. And a great performance from our back line. 57-year-old Ashley Young holding it down on the flank. Mikolenko looks good on the wing, and then Tarkowski and Branthwaite are that's a good back pairing. I like both of those guys.
Nick,
This is
how far are we going up
this
the
is
table?
hey, clear relegation. This is your strongest 11. That's the lineup you should be going with.
Yeah.
I'm happy it's what you went with. Again, I didn't even know Idrissa Gana Gueye got injured in warmups. I thought Onana was just selected. I think Onana is. I think Onana's better than Moises Caicedo, if I'm being honest. And I
Form?
think I think Trace is right. His profile makes him that is an elite profile for what he does. Gets forward well too. Good on the ball. I like him quite a bit. Again, McNeil hasn't impressed me much. Good game. Jack Harrison, man, he's the story, right? I mean, a lot of good performances, but he was the difference maker.
He
You
was.
need people like that in games like this. So I was very happy for you guys as well. I promise you, if it wasn't Arsenal City this weekend, or even if we tied or lost, I would have worn an Everton jersey with the boys because that was definitely cool.
Yeah, I know Onana had some smoke around him with some big teams in terms of some transfer rumors this summer, and I think as the season got started and Everton was looking god awful, I think that helped Everton to keep him and not have that smoke turn into a fire of selling him. So I think it just works out well. I think Onana can be a big player for Everton, and I do think that like what you're saying, this is probably the best 11 that we can put out there, and certainly without Beto and with DCLN, we're looking a bit better. You'll love to see
Yeah.
it.
I hope we keep
But
Onana. I think he's really too good for our team, so I hope we do keep
Yeah,
him.
I agree. I agree.
we used to have players like James, Digne, playing a different type of ball. But we move forward to a team that is playing a different type of ball. Yet, after our discussions last week, we said that this game was going to be big into showing them that they are an actual team that can fight for top positions and be able to take care of the smaller teams. Wolves versus Villa. It ends 1-1. Boys, Aston Villa, you already said, Nick, you thought they might slide. Mike, I'll go to you first here. is this disappointing to see an Aston Villa team draw against a lowly Wolves side when we are starting to expect these type of results from them to get wins here?
Yeah, it is, but that's kind of been Aston Villa's game, um, bouncing back and forth from good performances and then kind of mediocre performances. And I think we might need to change the narrative on Wolves a little bit. I don't think they're great by any means, but they did beat Manchester City the week before, and they do have a few guys who are proper ballers. The
Mhm.
Korean guy,
Neto.
Hwang Hee-chan included, Neto included, um, and Dawson
That's
for
not three.
sure. So
Make some noise.
Dawson's so good, it's crazy.
it is, and yeah, I mean they're not an easy team to beat. Uh, so I don't really have too many opinions on this. I think Villa would, expect and like to get the points, but from the game that I watched, I think a 1-1 draw is pretty fair from the performances from both squads.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I think Villa's the I don't think Villa is the worst team of the top 8. I think Villa's the best team of everyone else. You know what I mean? Like I think they're proving themselves to be not consistent enough to talk about them like we talk about Brighton or Newcastle or West Ham at the moment. I know they're ahead of them in the points right now. Just it just feels like you never know, man, like what the fuck you're gonna get from them. Although I think Trace has a great point. Wolves were just so bad early, like the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. So I think we kind of forgot there's still some good players there, and then they lost
I said they were
Nunez,
going to
and we're
get
like, all right,
relegated.
yeah, dude, I was on it too. I agreed. But
Probably
yeah,
a lot
no,
of
that
coaches
attack,
for people there that weren't Everton, to be fair.
fair. So a lot of so there's a good amount for a mid-table team. That is a good amount of attacking talent. The midfield's still lacking, but um, yeah, I think that against teams like Crystal Palace and Wolves and Nottingham and I guess maybe Fulham, I think we can expect Aston Villa and Brentford and Everton. I think we can expect Aston Villa to struggle a little bit more um, than maybe they should if like judging off their lineup and what they're capable of.
Yeah, I don't think they have the gap. I think they have on paper better teams that they can put out, but I don't think that the actual play itself is continuously as big of a gap to make sure that they get the result they want as some of those top teams have, where there is a larger gulf in quality between.
Yeah,
But honestly, where they're at right now, if you would have told them that midway through last year when they signed up Unai Emery
totally,
and were hoping for just non-relegation, they would be
totally.
they think you're on some type of drug and they would want some of it. And here they are in fifth, doing well, and even a draw here still is a point. So moving up in
Totally.
the world and moving down in the table, we go Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest 0-0. Of all the most exciting games of the weekend, this was definitely not one of them. A 0-0 draw usually is not very exciting. This one was no exception, but Matt Turner gets a clean sheet here. You look at the shot difference, it looks like Nottingham Forest had a bit more of the chances, but I think earlier going into this, you would say that Crystal Palace probably, based off quality, should be slightly favored here. 0-0. Is that a disappointment for either side? Mike?
Nah.
That's kind of what I expect. Like I thought it was going to be a 0-0, 1-1 game. Pretty sure I said that last week. Neither team looking extraordinarily uh, threatening or lethal up top. Some major guys missing. I mean, Nottingham doesn't have Taiwo at the moment, who's been like their source of all goals so far this season. I think has kind of
Hmm.
elevated them, make them look a little bit better than they are. But I still kind of think they're figuring out what they are with the players that they have. A lot of new acquisitions, and then Crystal Palace the same way, missing Olise up top. Obviously, Wilfred Zaha going in the in the transfer window. So they're both solid at the back. Crystal Palace more so. I think they have a very good back line, very strong back line. Kind of a stinker. I didn't watch it, but that's what I expected, that kind of result.
Yeah. Not too much needed. Nick, do you have anything to say on this, or
I
you
didn't watch a
thinking enough
minute of
of
the
it?
fucking game, if I'm being honest.
All right. Well, we'll go to a game where an American scored. Fulham America versus Sheffield United. We had Austin Trusty playing for Sheffield, Jedi Robinson, and Tim Ream playing for Fulham. Ends 3-1. You can see Anthony Robinson got on the score sheet there. For some reason, it was not counted for Fulham. Happened to have been in the wrong net. Whatever. Not a big deal. Beautiful sliding finish. Guys, 3-1 here. It was looking dicey for a bit there at 1-1 with Jedi being the equalizer goal for Sheffield. Fulham, I think it was much needed. Where do we see Fulham right now after a result like this, after kind of their dip in form? Are they getting back to where we might have thought of them at the start of the season, or are we a little bit more down on them? Mike?
Yeah, I think they're kind of right where they belong. They overperformed last year. I think they finished what, 8th or 9th, something like that, just outside of Europe. And they lost some major guys. Mitrovic being the main guy. Their source of goals, very prolific goal scorer at that. And Raul Jimenez, not a fantastic replacement. They beat Sheffield. Sheffield looks like shit. They look like the worst team in the league. They look they look levels below Luton and Burnley, and that's saying something. Yeah, pretty standard result. I expect Fulham to be able to beat teams like that. Um, and then I think they're kind of in the same grouping as an Everton, as a Brentford, as a Nottingham, even as a Crystal Palace, probably.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Nick, do you have any differences in where you see Fulham and do you
I've
see Sheffield
decided
as
I've decided I am no longer going to let any game involving this promoted group affect my mindset. So no, nothing has changed with Fulham. I think they're bad. I think they're outside of the bottom three, the second worst team in the league right now, outside of Brentford.
wow? Damn. All right. A lot lower on Fulham. I don't think this necessarily says they're back, but I do think it shows that they are not among those that should be at the very bottom. Sheffield, what a long way they have gone from being one up in the 90th minute against Tottenham to now. Goddamn, life is tough if you are a Sheffield fan. I am so sorry for you. Well, boys, that is our rundown on the Premier League. And now we get into the US. Mike's also repping it. We have our US men's national team corner here. And
Huge
we have a
weekend.
lot to talk about here. We'll start with Malik Tillman is catching some fire in the Netherlands. Another goal, another game. Dest starting with him. Pepe cannot get a start for the life of him because Luke de Jong is squeezing that fucking starting role with both fists, scoring in like every goddamn game. But Tillman, 2 games in a row with goals. Balogun with another goal against his former team. He's starting to catch some form. Haji Wright, our World Cup goal scorer, the only striker to do so, has gotten the winner for Coventry in the championship. Maybe he can work his way back into the team here. But some people who are on the roster, Joe Scally with an absolute banger outside the box for Mönchengladbach, and Gio Reyna finding his way back onto the field. That's not where it stops. McKennie and Weah start together, both play well. McKennie's finally not a wing back. He's actually in the center of defense or center of the midfield. And then finally, the main attraction of the weekend, ends in Milan, how it usually does for the U.S. men's national team corner. Christian Pulisic scores off a cross to
From
win
who?
the game for Genoa in the 87th minute. And who is that cross from? None other than Musa, the Moose.
Musa.
After an amazing performance, Musa has been absolutely class
So
for
good.
3-4 games now. Christian Pulisic coming off the bench for the second half, scoring a goal, just really solidifying that spot over Samuel Chukwueze. Guys, how amazing of an investment is 20 million for Christian Pulisic, already 4 goals, 1 assist through 8 games for Milan. Mike, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think that's a steal. I think both transfers, Musa and Pulisic, those are both steals. I think if Pulisic's an English player, that's easily 40, 50 million that they spend. And he's fitting into the team well, whether he's playing centrally or on that right wing that he's been on. But hopefully he just continues on that form. I'd like to see him have like a double-digit scoring season and a bunch of assists as well. That'd be huge for us. We haven't seen him have like a great European season since he left Dortmund. And I'm kind of excited to see how much more he can elevate his game.
Absolutely. And Nick, that game went a little crazy and saw a former Gunner end up in net after Mike Mignon was sent off. The other goalie for the other team was sent off, and Giroud had to make a big save. Do you think maybe David Raya and Ramsdale aren't the answer? That maybe Giroud makes his comeback to the Gunners
Where did he
as
be?
a goalie?
I will never forgive that fucking donkey for messing up Mesut Ozil's should have been record breaking season of assists. My God, the sitters that man missed. Um, yeah, good
Whoa,
for
the
him.
creativity. Maybe he was just meant to be a goalkeeper, in which the amount of goals he scored was really impressive. So
Fucking huge, like like he's smart, man.
6'4", 6'5".
yeah, he's not in the
Yeah.
greatest form
I will
right now.
say, quick shout out. I said it last week, but Eunice is my favorite American player, and oh, I love watching him play. He is so good at progressing with the ball at his feet. And he's getting
He's
better
getting
with
that
his final
final
ball,
ball now
clearly.
too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's getting better.
Perfect.
So
Yeah,
shout out
Moose
to
is
the
a
boy.
special player. Still
So
20, I think.
that's insane.
Yeah.
So one other little rumor in the mill for U.S.
Mhm.
MNT players. Greg Berhalter commenting on long forgotten John Brooks to potentially
Oh,
work his way back into the roster. So exciting news. We have a lot of center backs, but could always use more and guys to press for spots.
I mean, John Brooks, based off performance, should probably still be in there because he is every single week a starter playing 90 minutes for a top team in the Bundesliga. So I'm not sure exactly what he'll have to do to earn that back, but I'd like to know what happened there. But you
There's
know,
only room for one bald guy in the team.
yeah, that might be so. But jeez. All right, we will get into our footy stock exchange. Ding, ding, ding. To end us off here, we're going to go through what our buys and sells of the week are. And Mike, we're going to start with you. Who are you buying and who do we need to get rid of? Who are we selling?
I'm buying Bayer Leverkusen. It's an obvious buy. We're buying them while they're high, but they look fantastic. They look great in the midweek playing in Europe. And then a huge win today. The squad's great. Xabi Alonso looks like a fantastic manager. We'll probably move on after the season, I would expect,
yeah.
to an elite team in Europe, possibly Real
Real, bro.
Madrid, depending on
Yeah.
Ancelotti's situation, if he stays or not. Probably not. Fantastic. They're a beautiful team to watch. They've got some great players, and yeah, I'd buy them. I believe in it.
Absolutely, I'll double that. And who are we selling?
I'm selling playing center backs as fullbacks. I don't love it, man. I know it's kind of been Pep's thing, at least the last 2 seasons, and a few other teams kind of adopted it. We see Barca doing it occasionally. Jules Koundé out at right back. Um, I don't really like it, man. If you're playing a 3-back, I get it. That works. But trying to have the clearest example, recency bias, but Josko Gvardiol playing on the flank today really made no sense. Not a bad performance, but kind of just stuck in his role because Gabriel Jesus is so threatening that it doesn't allow him to transition higher up the field and play as a proper fullback. I sell it. Not for me.
I do think it may be due a lack of world class or top left backs. That might be the reason why we see more center backs out there, but absolutely agree. After Manchester United did it, I think everybody has to sell it.
Yeah, bro.
Nick?
That's like when a teacher does a TikTok dance. Like that's how you know it's dead. Like once Man U does it.
Trend's over at that point.
Teacher.
Nick,
Oh, we could put
you
Lindelof
are
on right back.
you're our financial expert here. What are you buying? What are you selling? And why should people not listen to you because you are not actually a financial advisor?
You know what? I decided this week that you should listen to me because I feel strongly. I get I
Lie to
get I'm
us.
not legally trained or collegiately trained, but I know what I'm talking about. So,
You're
big buy.
GED trained on this.
Listen, I get it hitting past 8th grade. But no, I would listen if you're finding if you're trying to find someone to put your money into. I'm all in on Kai Havertz. I loved him at the 9 today. I think he is like the profile he has, and I feel like that word's being overused a lot. He's been getting shit on, and people have not really been watching his performances. Just had a bad year at Chelsea, horrible year at Chelsea, and hasn't had output. So people have been talking about how he's horrible. But the actual performances outside of like one game that he played poorly, he's been playing really well. And we saw it in the Community Shield. We saw it when he got on today. He was bullying that back line. Big part of why we won today. Changed the game as well as the rest of the substitutes. So buy in on Kai Havertz. And I don't know who the fuck still has this stock, but if you still have it somewhere in your
People are
portfolio,
buying the
you
low.
gotta sell. You gotta sell on the Premier League refs, man. These fucking clowns. We didn't talk about it much in the review of the Arsenal game, but the first Kovacic tackle, people have been saying 50-50. I feel like it's even more than that. Like I feel confident that's a red card. Can't catch it real time, whatever. Remember, VAR like double checked the challenge last week and sent him off for far less than what he did. The second one's even stupider and honestly close to the same result. How that man is on there, I have no idea. And then we look at the no foul given for Newcastle's Bruno Guimaraes right before their goal. That exact same thing happened last weekend with Diego Yoda. Their half-assed stupid apology about the Luis Diaz situation. Ah, these men are. How is it that the Prem, being the most expensive and like competitive league in the world, why do they have this rule that there's only allowed to be English refs? Like, just get the best fucking refs in here. Let's manage the game how it's supposed to, and stop making dumbass decisions based on how you feel on a given day. It's ridiculous. By the way, the same guy who didn't send off Kovacic today, Michael Oliver, sent off Gabriel Martinelli last week for 2 yellows in 30 seconds in the same phase of play for blocking a throw in and then a very weak push in the back. Like, no consistency at all in this league.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody will disagree with that sell. And I think the biggest thing is consistency. Because if they're going to be harsh or lenient, be that way all the way throughout. But they can't be switching stuff up. Premier League refs, big sell. That might be a financial. You can take that to the bank. You can
To the bank.
use that as valuable financial information. Do it.
Nick, you can't sell them, dude. No one's gonna fucking buy it.
It might be a
You take what
buy
you
because
can get, bro.
not that much lower.
Penny
Very well said.
stocks.
Penny stock, Jordan Belfort style. And we'll get into my buys and sells here. My buy is coming from the U.S. men's national team. It is Malik Tillman. He overslept. His stock was low. And I'm telling you, buy. He has scored 2 goals in 2 games. He has been electric to watch. he is just a different gravy type of player. If you ever watch him play, if you ever watch compilations of all his touches, he is constantly doing things, constantly making dribbles, runs. He's insanely good in the air. He is a player that is special. If PSV don't end up buying him, there's going to be a lot of teams in Europe that are interested in buying him and still might be even from PSV at the end of this season. So
Hey,
buy low.
you know who he would be perfect for? Are the Everton Toffees. Because to
Everton,
be
baby.
that good in the air
Love
and
him.
still be able to
Listen,
run at people, that's the 10 you're looking for.
hear me out. Decore
Starts.
moving back, move Tillman up. We are
Mhm.
cooking.
Wow.
Honestly, he was being looked at by Brighton this summer. Ends up going PSV. Think he's playing a lot more there. He's earned his starting role. And now we get into my sell, which is sad to say because we do have an American player on there as well. It's Bournemouth. The Cherries. We can look at the table. Oh boy, they are doing awful. They are not doing hot. And Tyler Adams out for a rumored 3 more months. He's a player that in a relegation scrap can save you from conceding goals, can get you some draws, and can hold some leads for you. Him being out does make a big difference for them. Yeah, I think they might be going with Tyler Adams being relegated 2 years in a row based off of
No.
injuries.
No.
Does he get
Could
sold
be.
again
Hold.
after
Hold.
another injury? I don't
Backline
know.
looked atrocious this week.
They do not look promising in really many ways.
Hold.
In many
I like
ways.
him. I like him. Hold. They just ran into the buzzsaw that is Everton.
We are cooking.
We are cooking.
Everton
We
is
are
back,
cooking.
bro.
Everton, hey, listen, Everton, now that we have Jack Harrison being able to create something and Beto's not in there heading crosses up rather than into the ground, I mean, hey, we could be doing stuff.
Guys, we're doing the same thing we did before the Luton game. Let's relax.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's start
dude,
shitting on
our
them
next
again like we did after the Luton game so that they can continue. Everton suck. There's no hope for
They're
them.
trash.
our next game's the
Horrible.
Merseyside derby, so we'll see. We'll see.
They're so bad. We need everything we got. They are terrible. Liverpool is so good. There's just zero chance. There's no way we could even jinx it. God, it's such a tough game. But
Indeed,
boys,
if you started Beto.
we are here at the end. The stock exchange is closing. Do we have any final words? Nick, I'll start with you as our big winner of the day after the Gunners' big performance.
October 8th, 2023, the day I knew Arsenal were winning this league this year. Up the Arsenal. Let's go.
Mike, can you say the same about Everton here for us in your closing thoughts?
We're staying alive. I know it. We're staying up. It's not going to be as hairy as it was the last 2 years. I'm telling myself that now.
I like it. We're staying up. We're staying up. Everton will be staying up. You heard it here first, folks. But until next episode, we will see you then. Peace out.